Good morning, everybody. What I'm gonna do today is I'm gonna give you guys my opinion, like what I believe, my interpretation of this, the way that I've just kind of gathered the information. So I'm no Rhodes Scholar. I don't work for freaking HUD. I don't work for these mortgage companies. So this is just kind of what I've picked up over the years as far as the process to get to the initial secure and then the purpose of the initial secure. So let's just say that someone passes away or they stop making their mortgage payment, whatever the case may be, where the original terms of the agreement weren't being met. I believe it triggers, a task within the mortgage company for them to issue out to the asset manager, which is who we work for, to start doing bi-monthly or bi-weekly, whatever the case may be, inspections to this property. And these inspections, occupancy inspections, vacancy inspections, whatever you want to call them, are meant to report back the status of the property, whether it's still occupied, whether it's being maintained, whether it got blew away by a tornado or burned down in a fire. And these inspections continue until these inspectors deem the property vacant. So once these inspectors deem the property vacant, then they go up and they post what's called the FTV, which is the first time vacancy. So, and it depends on the client that you work for, and I'm only speaking for the ones who I work for, but each one of them will have their own specific FTV postings. Some of the FTV postings are the same postings that they use for their secure postings. So these inspectors will post this FTV posting. So when that happens, it triggers a time window. So basically the occupant or the previous occupant has X amount of days to get in touch with the mortgage company and notify them of whatever reason it may be that they're in the situation it's in. Otherwise, if the FTV is still there in 10 days, 14 days, 21 days, then it triggers another order in the system, except for this one is for us, the property preservation guys, to go out and secure the property. So when you're out there to do an initial secure, now the very, very first thing you should do when you pull up to the property is run through all of your visual occupancy indicators. Knock, check the power, check the water, look through the windows, do every single thing you can to ensure that the property is 100% vacant before you attempt to go in. And then, so once you decide that the property is vacant, and you have to keep in mind that we are the first representatives of the mortgage company to gain access to this property since the tenant left. So it's very, very important that we know that the house is empty before we attempt to go in. So, but once you know that it's vacant, you're going to want to post the secure posting. So if it's the same, then you'll just take that one down and put your own up, with your information on it and your task number. A lot of companies have a different post-secure posting than they do the first-time vacancy posting, so you're going to want to take pictures showing that the FTV is still there. And that's very, very important, because if you were to get there to secure the house and the FTV was not present, then that would be a good reason for you to turn around and not secure it, or repost the FTV while you're there, and let them send you back out in a couple of weeks. Because if it's not present, then there's a pretty good chance that the tenant or the homeowner or whoever come by and took it down, which is a very good indicator that they've been there. They've at least been there over the last few days, if nothing else. So, but you're going to want to photograph the FTV, then you're going to want to take the FTV down, you're going to want to put the post secure up, and then you hammer on out with the initial secure. So the thing with these initial secures, and this is every client that we work for, so maybe you guys work for one that is a little different, but as far as the ones we work for and the standard that I have created and the system that I have created for our initial secures, we always secure a secondary door. And my understanding of this is because the intent is not to lock anyone out of the house so we obviously don't want hobos coming in. That's, that's why we secure everything. But the tenant at this point still has legal right to get in the house and get their belongings, which is why we secure a secondary door rather than the main entrance door. So you're going to want to go find a secondary door. Now, a lot of the times, and I'll just give you a hypothetical situation, the secondary door is a sliding glass door, and the only actual door is the front door. Well, in that case, then you're going to replace the lock set on the front door and put the lock box on the front door and put a slider lock on the sliding door. Now, I know what you're saying. That means the house is completely secure and can't nobody gain access, and that's true. But what they can do is they can reach out to the number that's on the post secure, that's on the door, and they can schedule a meet and greet where we come back out, we open the door, we allow them access, and they go in and get what they want. But in most cases, there's a front door, then there is a secondary door. And the secondary door is where you're going to want to put your lock set and your lock box. Your winterization posting. I know for us, I don't even know if it's a rule anymore, but back in the day it was a rule where the winterization postings didn't go on the front of the house because it gave the impression that the house was empty, which was not good for the house, wasn't good for the neighboring houses. So the winterization posting goes on the secondary door. That's where I put our winterization postings. So you secure the secondary door, you put your lock box on the secondary door, and the other things that you're gonna secure while you're there doing the initial secure is going to be your crawl space entrances, and that's so that nobody's up in, you know, going under, stealing any plumbing or HVAC or wiring or whatever the case. So you're going to want to make sure you put a padlock on it. Any exterior closets. A lot of these houses, you know, the hot water heater will be in an exterior closet. So, or there's personals in the exterior closet that the mortgage company doesn't want to have any liability of them coming up missing, so we're going to secure the exterior closets. Overhead garage doors will unplug the motor so they can't be opened with the button, or just lift it up, and we'll go in and we'll padlock the actual wheel right above the wheel on the railing on each one of them, so that you can't just, you know, open the garage door. Outbuildings, we're going to padlock them if the house has a water feature. So, and there's three. So there's a pool, there is a hot tub, and then there is like a pond, like, just imagine like a koi pond or something that holds water in the backyard, and it's fenced in. So what we're going to do is we're going to padlock all of the fence gates so that, you know, we're limiting liability. We don't have a little 3-year-old come wandering over there from the neighboring house, falls in the pool, drowns, that type of stuff. And then also, you know, a lot of these companies want you to go ahead and tarp the pool for the allowable while you're there doing the initial. I don't like to do that. You know, I like to bid them and come back and do them during an approval and just secure everything, because I don't just have pool covers sitting around, you know, in stock, and then I don't want to have to wait on the pool cover to come in and go do the initial secure. So so you've got your padlocks and you've got your lock set. Always, 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 you're going to do a pressure test during the initial secure, okay? There'll be times when you're doing final secures that you don't do the pressure test, but you'll do a re-winterization. And the reason is they don't want to pressure test these properties more than one time. So if you go in and you do a pressure test and it passes and you do a proper winterization, there should be no need to redo a pressure test, because there should not be any plumbing damages. So, and then the other thing is you're going to want to look for your allowables. So a lot of these companies, when you're doing these initial secures, a lot of them have allowables that you can do while you're there doing the initial secures. Damp rids, water caps, dryer vent caps, sewage caps, you know, handrails if you choose to do that. There's shrubs that can be done with the allowable. So within the allowable, trimming trees, all these. So there's a lot of things you can do within the allowable while you're there. Generally, we don't trim shrubs within the allowable. It has to be a very insignificant amount of shrubs for us to do them within the allowable. Same with trimming trees. But water caps, dryer vent caps, all that type of stuff we always do for the allowable while we're there, if we can, during the initial secure. And it's just kind of an extra way to kind of, you know, move the money up. But the other thing, and probably the biggest thing that you do during the initial secure, is you get to get your first set of bids on these properties. And you know, I've said this in many videos, don't hold back. Bid every single thing, bid everything, because you're also, while you're creating work for yourself in the future, you're also removing a lot of liability from yourself by bidding these things and being upfront with them. Hey, this is present, you know, during the initial secure. The other thing that I'm going to touch on is, obviously, and this should go without saying, do not take a single thing out of that house. Don't go through their drawers. Don't rummage through these people's stuff. That's not what we're there for. And just because no one's looking and you think you can get away with it, it's not right. It's not the right thing to do. It's very, very wrong. And it's 100% theft if you take anything out of these houses, regardless of if you think it's abandoned, the people are dead, they're never coming back. It is theft if you take anything out of these properties. So do not touch anything. Do what you're there. Photograph everything. That way you can prove that, hey, this is the stuff that was in the house on, you know, whatever, September 26th, 2023. So it was all present on this date. So you're gonna wanna photograph everything, bid everything, secure everything but the front door. And then if there's more than one secondary door, like let's say there's a door that comes into the garage, and then there's a door that comes into the back of the house, you're only securing one of them. So you don't have to do anything other than make sure the other door, the other secondary door, along with the front door, is locked from the inside when you go to leave. You're going to want to make sure all of the windows are locked and they have functional locks on them. And, you know, then you're just obviously, you know, do your bids, take a full set of pictures and get a good comprehension of the condition of the property. And that's pretty much it. So it's not overly complicated. I'll probably do another video, you know, kind of explaining the final secure, but that's the initial secure. That's what I do for my company most of the time, is the initial secures. I have done a bunch of initial secures. And that's just kind of exactly what I do for each one of them. So I hope this video helps. I hope it kind of broke down the process, and now you have a little bit better understanding of what the expectation is, what to expect. You know, so if it did help you, please like, comment, share, subscribe, let me know what you think. And then obviously if you're seasoned in this game and this was just useless information for you, then I apologize. But listen, I hope you guys are making tons of money. I hope you guys are staying super duper duper busy. And I hope you guys have a wonderful week. See ya.